British in the Netherlands. Thank you very much. Dank u wel.
Good evening, fellow citizens of Europe. We tried to put this on the wrought iron doors of the UK representation to the EU, but the security guards inside spotted us, so we had to scuttle off. I would like to begin with some excerpts from a speech by Margaret Thatcher as leader of the Conservative Party before the UK referendum about continuing membership of the European Economic Community in 1975. We are inextricably part of Europe. For Britain to leave would mean denouncing a treaty. Britain does not break treaties. It would be bad for Britain, bad for our relations with the rest of the world, and bad for any future treaty on trade we need to make. We can play a role developing Europe, or we can turn our backs on the community. By turning our backs, we forfeit our right to influence what happens in the community. The European community is a powerful group of nations. With Britain as a member, it is more powerful. Without Britain, it will still be powerful. Britain, if she denounces a treaty, cannot then complain if Europe develops in conflicts with Britain's interests. It is a myth that the community is simply a bureaucracy with no concern for the individual. It is a myth that our membership of the community will suffocate national tradition and culture. Are the Germans any less German for being in the community? Or the French any less French? Of course they are not. It seems to me to display an amazing lack of self-confidence in Britain on the part of some people, that they think that whereas no other nation in the community has lost its national character, Britain in some way will. If the British people vote no to the European community, they will read how there was a defeat for cooperation between nations. They will read how extremism won over common sense. For it is purely common sense to belong to a community working together in peace on economic and political issues that concern us all. Whether one agrees or not with the policies of the Thatcherite cabinet that governed Britain in the 1980s, one must concur that Mrs. Thatcher's words in 1975 ring as true today as they did then. Last year, I asked group members to express what they felt about the European Union. This is just a handful from people aged 26 to 77. I bought into the idea of common identity, history, values and culture right from 1973. John, Irish, living in the UK. I want to remain an EU citizen because this is a crucial and opportune time for citizens' action to transform the European Union in a democratic direction. Gerald, British, living in England. I want to remain an EU citizen because I want to keep my right to live in other European countries. Matt, British, living in France. I want to retain the freedom to live, work or retire anywhere in the EU member states. Adam, British, living in the Netherlands. Living in Europe meant up until June 24, 2016 that I was a member of a massive, chaotic, cacophonic, creative, colourful community. Gemma, British, living in Germany. 1.3 million British citizens live in EU 27 countries. Contrary to what the UK tabloid trash portray, we are not retired Brits living it up on the Costas. 79% of us are working. We were dismayed by the result of the 2016 referendum. Indeed, quite a lot of us were denied the right to vote on this issue that has such a profound impact on our lives. 1.3 million of us live in EU 27 countries, and over half of us were denied a vote, denied a voice about that which affects us directly, denied a voice about the impact on the futures of our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and generations beyond. If the European Union simply reciprocates the UK proposal of settled status, this would not work for us. There is no provision for freedom of movement of persons and the rights that come with that under EU law. We do not want to lose our freedom of movement and all that is associated with that right. Take dual nationality, some might say. Well, many of us can't, because the state we are resident in does not allow it, or only allows it under very specific circumstances. Well, so we take nationality of the EU state of residence then. Well, some of us would love to do so, but it's not that simple. Many are concerned that they will lose their future claims on UK state, civil service or military pensions if they have rescinded their British nationality. And that is just an easy example to point out. And it's the tip of the iceberg of all the potential problems that could happen if people rescind their British nationality and become a citizen only of the state they are resident in. All of us are worried about our future rights as non-EU citizens to live, work and claim benefits in times of need in the EU 27 countries. We value and need our EU citizenship. We are all productive members of society by our work, volunteering, or simply by giving a helping hand to our neighbours. Some of us no longer have close friends or relatives in Britain because they've either died or moved outside the UK themselves. Post-Brexit, if we are asked to leave our countries of residence, we shall have nobody to turn to and nowhere to go.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sarah, sorry. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.